Hey guys, what's going on?
I'm Antoine,
And I'm Samvia,
and this is the crew.
and welcome back to our channel.
The Henrys is in the building.
The Henrys are in the house
We ready to rock and roll for another one.
for another one. So before we even get started, make sure you guys like, subscribe,
and call your peoples because it's a popcorn event.
and hit up the bell notification so y'all know when we do a new video.
Right.
All right, so that was a little different. We never did it like that before. But this time, guys, I want to take you guys through our birth story and our labor story of having baby number 7, which was Leia. It was such a phenomenal experience that we had. We had our second home birth, and it was our first water birth.
Right.
So it was so excited, but it was a lot of anxieties that Antoine and I felt at the moment. And at the time, I was about 42 weeks. So I was a little late, and I was just ready to have this baby. So we're going to go ahead and dive into the labor experience and how everything flowed. But yeah, we're just going to talk about it because we haven't talked about it. I think that we talked about it maybe like the first couple of weeks, like, how you doing? How you doing? But in the mix of that, that's postpartum. So you still have a newborn baby.
Right. A lot
going on. You have other kids you're still tending to. So it's kind of like, I'm okay. You're kind of trying to just keep your head above water, so to speak.
Try to rebuild.
Right. So before we get deep.
Ready to pray?
Let's pray.
Dearly beloved, thank you for this day. Thank you for allowing us to get together. Thank you for allowing us to be able to speak in front of our audience. Thank you for all that you are doing. Thank you for the hands of the whole. Thank you for my wife. Thank you for all that you are giving us. Please give us the strength, and I trust you, God, during this conversation, that you will allow us to be able to express our feelings, allow us to tell our testimony, allow us to be able to keep it real. And in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I love you.
Love you too.
You be trying to take off my lipstick.
You only got a little bit on today.
Just a little bit. All right. So he just wiped off my kiss.
Not the kiss.
You did.
So you want me to talk with lipstick on me?
It was no lipstick on you. This is like a matte lipstick. It didn't.
Okay. Ready to rock and roll? Let's talk. Let's chop it up.
Wait, I'm just going to get into it because your haircut looks really nice.
Thank you so much. Had to get a little cleanup.
Looks really good. It's been a little minute. Been a little over 7 days.
Yeah, I like the rugged look sometimes.
I be forgetting how fine you are. Like, I be like,
how you forget?
Because like this needs to happen. Like I'm married to 2 different men, okay? Rugged Antoine and clean cut Antoine. This is clean cut Antoine. Let me introduce you to my husband. This is clean cut, yeah. Mr. Henry.
The other guy's the guy that mows the lawn.
Change dirty diapers.
Clean the house.
The laundry. That's not true because clean cut Mr. Henry does that too.
I'm about to go show myself to the world. I gotta go walk into the office with the cut.
Amen. That's the truth. All right, let's get started. I'm going to talk about the pregnancy first. Carrying our 7th baby and going through the entire pregnancy for the 7th time was a very, like, I would just say busy experience. We literally sold our house, bought a new house, did a complete renovation, traveled internationally 3 times, and just was trying to make life. We were trying to make a house, a home, all in the process of my entire pregnancy up until the very end. And so when it was time for me to embrace the fact that I was actually pregnant, I think that I was so busy that it didn't connect. Like, girl, you pregnant, but like you carrying baby 7. So, I mean, if you go back, I didn't produce a lot of content then because I was so busy just really doing life with my family. So the last month of my pregnancy, Antoine was like, I really just want you to relax. I've gotten to the point where I was over exerting myself. I was completely exhausted and overwhelmed. And it was to the point where I truly desired to have a slower life. The soft life everyone's desiring and chasing. I too was chasing that at that point. And I believe that you were trying to encourage me to know that, hey, this is okay. You can embrace this. This is your last month, your last 4 weeks of pregnancy. Let's take our time.
Right.
And even in trying to do that, I have to say, like, with my busy nature, because sometimes if there's nothing to do, I'm going to keep it 100. I would find something to do. And I was still anxious, and I was feeding my anxiousness by still trying to do so much, whether it was around this house. I wanted renovations to be done sooner than they could be. So I was trying to do stuff like, I guess that whole nesting stage towards the end really was starting to kick in while I was trying to have a softer, slower life, which was not a good combination. But how did that make you feel at that time?
At that time, we moving, so it was just feel like we just overwhelmed.
Right.
I felt, you get a lot of the backlash. I got the kids, and whatever else is coming along on the table, and things are slipping. So things happen. So with that on your plate as being a man or being a father, it feels as if you don't got nothing controlled. So if you're trying to maintain everything that's around you and you're trying to hold it down, it gets tough because my main priority is you, and I'll leave and go do the groceries with the kids and come back and you're trying to flip tables. So then how does that make me feel? It's like I don't have it, or you can't relax if I'm not home. If I can't make you relax or say, yo, I'll sit in this room until you fall asleep and then leave, and then, you know what I'm saying? It's like I felt it was hard. It was hard for me. Okay. It was hard. It was very hard for me.
Thank you for sharing that, because I didn't know that at all. And I just thought that like my busyness just affected me physically. No. I didn't realize that me being so busy and me doing those things and saying, I got it, I'm good, I got it, I'm good, only affected me. But to hear your truth and saying that, no, it affected you too, it's an eye opener. So I appreciate you saying that.
Yeah, like the slip and fall. Like you trying to fix something. What happens if it falls on you or you fall? Then what? And nobody's home with you. Right. I mean, that's just, one of the many things that I thought to my head.
And I mean, that leads us right up until the day before we gave birth. Like I was literally, do you remember what I was doing?
Oh, okay. What, lights?
Lights.
Right.
I was So our contractor that was doing our house, and he put up all of the light fixtures in the house. And after like a month after he put them up, I didn't like how it looked. So I bought new lights, and I was just like, nope, I'm going to put these lights up. I know how to put up lights. And my husband's like, well, you shouldn't really do it. And I was like, well, then I can do it. I can do it. And I'm literally like, we're going to put up lights. So this is the day before I gave birth. I was going through the house trying to change out light fixtures, big and pregnant, trying to change out light fixtures. So, yeah, it was definitely a busy pregnancy. And I remember the day before, I started to like have these intrusive like thoughts, like, just these really like pregnancy brain and pregnancy thoughts. And it was really like scaring me. Like, I don't know. I was late. I was like, God, why am I so late? Why do I always give birth this late? This here is 42 weeks. What is going on? And at that point, I think we had a conversation outside. Do you remember? And we and you was helping me. You was like, okay, what are the anxieties that you're feeling? And when I was just laying them out to you, you was helping me like debunk some of them. You was like, okay, so what if that did happen? And what if this did happen? Is God still not in control? And I was just like, well, he's in control, but what I realized that I needed not to be in control. And sometimes that scares me. So sometimes not being in control of just my own experiences, whether it's, my own thoughts and stuff, sometimes not feeling in control can be a little bit like triggering for me sometimes. Right. And I remember that night before, and I felt like I kind of laid it out with you outside. And then I took that concoction.
And then the baby slipped out.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So my midwife, I told her, and I was going through some of the things. She was like, just take the midwife brew. So she told me the ingredients for it. And I thought everyone knew about it, but I didn't know about it at that point. That was my 7th child. So the midwife brew was like some lemon brain tea. It was almond butter.
A lot of herbs and teas.
A lot of herbs and teas, basically. And it was like apricot juice. Apricot, I always say apricot, but it's apricot juice, almond butter, and it was some lemon brain tea. And you was like, you mix that stuff up and then you just drink it with castor oil. Castor oil is the main ingredient. Like, you can't forget that. And you just mix it up. It tastes really good to me. I liked it. And you just drink it. And it's almost like a thick smoothie. And you drink it, and basically it just helps, start labor if labor is in the process already. Like, if it's supposed to happen at that time, it'll, jumpstart labor. And so we took it at like 10 o'clock at night. And when I tell you that I was in labor at like 2:45 in the morning. So that it was like 4 hours later, I was in full blown labor.
Right.
And the labor experience, I have to say, for me, it was beautiful. It happened so fast. I was in labor for about
2 minutes.
It was a little bit more than 2 minutes.
Like 45 minutes, 57 minutes.
Yeah, it was like between 45 and 57 minutes. Look at you, knowing the time, time. And it was really a really good experience. I want to say, like, I had so many ideas for content. Like, I wanted to do a video like, hey guys, labor's about to happen. And when I tell you labor started, and I was just like, boom. And I think what happened, I went to the bathroom and I was like, I have to go to the bathroom. So I went to the bathroom, and then I laid back down in the bed.
And the water broke.
And then like 30 seconds later, I felt my water breaking. So I didn't want it to leak all in my bed. So I jumped up, but I had a diaper on at that time. So I jumped up and made it to the bathroom, and my waters was just breaking. And so I was like, run that tub. Because if we did not run the tub when we did, it would have been entirely too late. Do you hear me? Baby would have been here. So we ran the tub. Antoine ran my tub. I got into it. He lit some candles for me.
Played a little music.
We played some music. You remember what kind of music we played?
We played Whoop There It Is by Tag Team.
No.
What we played?
We played gospel music.
Yeah.
How he don't remember, y'all? That's him throwing it off. He don't remember.
Nah, it's Whoop There It Is.
No, it wasn't.
The baby came out, was like, Whoop There It Is. Come on up. All right.
Listen, Antoine played some music and called the midwife.
Right. I was running up and downstairs.
He still was running up and downstairs. But I want to ask you, like, how was you feeling? Like, this was our second home birth, but this was our first water birth. And when y'all look at this video, I want y'all to pay attention to Antoine's like facial expressions, because he's like very in tune with how he feels, but he's not saying much. He's not saying. And I looked at the video and I kind of was just like, okay, what was you feeling? Because you look upset, and I know you weren't upset, but what were some of those things that you were feeling?
All right. First of all, we having a water birth, and we never did a water birth.
Okay.
So previous, we had 2 situations with both birth, with two of our births. One of the times that we had was with Antoine, and you almost fainted, and we had gotten in the shower.
Okay.
You tried to get in the shower in the heat, and then
I did faint.
You did faint, and I wound up catching you, and I had to yell for everybody else to be there.
Right.
The other thing was with Leia, the umbilical cord was wrapped around her neck.
Right.
And at that time, our midwife didn't know what to do.
Right.
And it was on me. So if I'm not smiling during our births, if you ever see another birth, I'm not smiling, I'm locked in, because it's about me. I mean, not about me, but I'm the one that's going to do everything. That's how I feel. Even though Jacinda, our midwife, she's the bread, and she was 2 of them there, and they do their thing. I still feel like they're non-existent.
Okay.
Catching you, I held you when you fell, when you fainted. I held you for about 3 to 5 minutes before somebody came.
I didn't realize it was that long.
It was a long time. So it was like nobody came. 3 to 5 minutes. If you ever fought for 3 to 5 minutes, seems like a lifetime.
Wow.
So holding you in your limp, I'm holding you and you have no, and I'm yelling like, yo, somebody come, and nobody comes. And then I'm trying to, and time somebody comes, I'm get you from the bathroom. I'm already got you almost to the bed. So then the umbilical cord, and prior to that, Layla's heart wasn't beating as fast.
Right.
So I said to her, what do we need to do? Until I got loud with her and got into her face and said, what do we need to do?
Right.
And she said, go to my car and go get 2 black suitcases. That's when I ran to the car, got the black suitcases, and came back and put you in the bed, and then got and started doing this, helping her with the stuff.
Right. Can we talk about that? Because I think that would lead you into what you're saying. Can we talk about that?
Mm-hmm.
So when Antoine and I conceived our first child together, it was time for us to go into labor for Antoine. We were still giving birth at a hospital at that point, and immediately after birth, I want to take a shower. Like I feel dirty. People touching me. I want to take a shower. That's every birth with me. I want to take a shower immediately after giving birth. So that was my routine. I already had Lisa at that point. So this is baby number 2. And I was just like, can I take a shower? And they were like, yeah, absolutely. Just take it slow. So Antoine is out in the room area, in the room of the hospital room with Antoine, little baby Antoine, and I'm going to take a shower by myself. No nurses, no nothing. So I go run the shower, take a shower. And what I remember is that I remember calling Antoine. And it's so funny because he was all the way in the room. So I'm in the bathroom of the room. He's in the rest of the room by the bed and stuff. And I'm calling him, but I'm faintly calling him because I felt myself about to pass out. And it seemed like, and I'm like in the shower, and the bathroom is like a square. You guys know how tiny those bathrooms are in the hospital. So it's like a shower, bars, toilet, sink, it's nothing extravagant. And I'm literally calling Antoine. And next thing I know, I must have fainted. And Antoine caught me. So he's like, he walked in the bathroom, but you said you never heard me. No. He just was going to check up on me, which was like, that was God. That was the Holy Spirit. Because how I thought I called him, he says, I didn't hear you.
That's just having that nurse background. Just going.
Right. And checking. Because them nurses was definitely not checking on me like they were supposed to. But that's beyond the point. So he went and he caught me as I was fainting. And he was calling for the nurses in the hallway to come in to assist him because at this moment, I'm bleeding. You know what I mean? I just had a baby, so I'm bleeding. And I am completely limped in your arms because I passed out. And at that moment, that's when they had to hit me with something. I woke up, and that's when I'm just like, what in the world happened? And I'm like, oh my goodness, so that was extremely scary. And they were like to Antoine, I'm so glad you were here. Yeah, that would have been a nice little lawsuit. But yeah, because why did you guys just leave? Like this was almost like 10 minutes after giving birth. No nurse was around.
No, nobody was around.
Nobody was around.
It was like they went on lunch break.
It was like, yeah, that would have been a nice little pretty penny, but I would have been severely hurt. So I thank God for my husband. And I thank God that you were attentive enough to come and to check on me because it could have been a different situation. And then giving birth to Layla. So Layla was our first home birth. And forgive me because I deleted the footage from it. And I'm so upset with myself because I don't have the footage from my first home birth. And immediately when my midwife, first it was a very different labor when I was giving birth to my 6th child, Layla. Everything happened different. I mean, my water didn't break and I was just bleeding. So she thought that was weird. She was like, you didn't break your water didn't break? And I was like, no. And I called her. I said, but I'm just bleeding. And she was like, okay, but no contractions and that. And I was like, not really. That should have been a red flag, but it wasn't a red flag, right? That should have been a red flag. Like, let me come check you, but it wasn't. So about like a couple hours later, contractions started. And I'm just like, yeah, contractions started, but my water didn't break and I'm still like leaking blood. And she was just like, okay, you know what? I have another family to go to, but I'm gonna stop to you first and just check up on you.
Mm-hmm.
And so when about time she came, labor had immediately started. Like literally, I got off the phone with her and she was in my house about 30 minutes later.
Mm-hmm.
And labor was full on. I was like, this is labor. I'm pretty sure this is labor. And she was like, okay. She was like, well, let me check you. So she took her Doppler and started to search for a heartbeat. And she realized that with every contraction, Layla's heartbeat was decreasing. So she said to me, she was like, oh, this is not good. I think we're going to have to go to the hospital. So I heard hospital and I completely was lost it. And I'm just like, no, I'm not giving birth in the hospital anymore. I'm not doing that. And I started crying.
I think at that time, see, when as a man, you hear things of that nature and you hear your wife crying, I think our job is to solely console you. Now, when you got to console the person that's delivering the baby, that's a problem.
No,
so
really...
so that's it. Hey, what do we need to do? Blah blah. Like I shouldn't even be asking you that. Right. I should be getting you to the bed, and she should already went to the car.
She should have known what to do.
So I'm not saying that she wasn't a bad midwife. No. What I'm saying is that she panicked.
She definitely panicked.
That's what I'm saying. So I didn't panic. It's just that births, how many God blesses with birth, it's hard to get to that place of smiling until like a week later for me. Because I'm so unaware if they're gonna do their job. Mm-hmm. Because it's not like then we had little small problems with our kids, little small problems with Austin. We had little problems with Leia, mm-hmm. stuff like that. So it's hard to get to that when you don't know if this doctor or this midwife is going to handle the situation that way that we need them to handle it. So I apologize if I'm not there at that time, mm-hmm. to the way that you need me to be there. It's just that's when protection comes in, mm-hmm. security comes in. So it's just...
No, I definitely appreciate that because giving birth is very scary. Giving birth for a Black woman especially is more scarier than any other race there is. So I definitely understand where you're coming from, and I know that some of our experiences have led to how cautious you are during this time. Mm-hmm. But I have to say, like, in a moment where I'm looking at it, it's like God just blessed us with a healthy baby. This baby has 10 fingers, 10 toes. This baby is breathing. Oh my goodness, 2 eyes. Like, I'm just so grateful. And I'm just in that moment of like, oh my goodness, God, thank you. I kind of want that reciprocation from you, but you're still completely on 10 because your emotions and stuff is still in protective mode when it should be in, let me be a soother and let me be that supporter and because wow, my wife just did it. Like her body did exactly what it needed to do, and God had continued to provide it. And so that's what I need from you. So I know, like, as you're like in protective mode and you can't really, going forward into baby number 8, I would really like to see that from you. If I'm being transparent with you, I'm not saying this to make you feel like any type of way, but I would like to see that. When I look up after all the things that I were thinking about and those intrusive thoughts that tried to attack me, and God just blessed us, I need to give me that reciprocation. Like, baby, you did amazing.
Okay. All right.
But I would never negate that those births that you mentioned was very scary. They were very scary.
Even this one, you went with Leia, you went and got in the shower. So
right. And you were saying, you like, watch her in that shower. Yeah. But I love the difference because my midwife was there.
Right.
She was there she was there. Jacinda got to Layla's birth, baby number 6, right after I pushed her out. So she came. And when I love Jacksonville midwives, I love them. And all of them that worked, I love them all. But when I tell you, one of the owners, Jacinda Golden, is like, to me, like, she does her job and you can tell that she's not doing it for money. Mm-hmm. She's doing it out of passion, out of love, out of desire. And the connection that she builds with her moms is just, it's phenomenal. It really is. And you can just sense it, you can feel it. I promise you can just feel it. And so when I remember when I was giving birth to Layla, and the midwife showed up, and I was just like, where's Jacinda? And she was like, oh, she's not here right now. So you kind of get attached to your care providers. And I was attached to her at that time. So I'm just like, oh my goodness, I kind of felt like if anything can go wrong, it will go wrong because Jacinda's not there, and it's kind of like, you can't do that. You can't put no one on a pedestal because people still make mistakes too.
Right.
But her bedside manners is phenomenal. It really is. So even after I gave birth to Layla and she was there and she was like, what happened? And Antoine was just, and then we kind of said like, it was scary. She was scaring us. And she was like, and then the midwife who was scared, she explained, she was like, the baby's cord was double wrapped around her neck. So the cord was wrapped around Layla's neck twice. And so as I was pushing Layla out, so I didn't even finish the story, y'all. I'm so sorry. So once she said, we have to go to the hospital, Antoine was like, no. What? Okay. And I start crying. So Antoine's like, calm down. Wait a minute. Why do we have to go to the hospital? And she's like, let me call. So she's calling, her people, her midwives, and saying, this is what's going on. What should I do? And Antoine's just like, what's going on? Like, what exactly can I do? So then I told her, I said, I think I can push. And she was like, you feel like you can push? I was sitting on a toilet and I was like, yes, I feel like I can push. And at that moment, active labor was only about 20 minutes. So I was like, I think I can push. And she was like, well, lay on the bed so I can see it. Cause she still had her jacket on, so she was like, lay on the bed. She was only there for about 10 minutes at that moment and told me I had to go to the hospital. So at this moment, she's like, come on, get on the bed. So we got up on the bed and, she kind of checked everything out and she's nervous. And then Antoine was like, what do you need? And then she finally was like, okay, get my bag out the trunk. So Antoine brought all of her supplies in. And when I tell you 2 pushes later, Layla was out. So it was like she wasn't even in my house for 30 minutes and delivered this baby.
But she had to wrap that cord.
Right. So as soon as I was pushing, after about the first push, she saw that cord. I'm so upset I don't have this video because you can see her in there with her 2 fingers
wrapping the cord,
getting that cord. And I didn't realize what she was doing, of course. But when I looked at the video, we saw Precious Lisa was recording the video and she got that cord out immediately. So, you said like she got nervous, but when it was time and she seen what happened, you have to
give her that prop.
You got to give her props. She went in like
she grabbed the cord around her neck.
She got the cord immediately. Like, how did she see it? Like, I wish God, I prayed I could find that video or restore it. But she hurried up and got that cord from around her neck. And I pushed her out and she was out and she was healthy and she was good. She was a little blue, but every guy worked it out. So it was an amazing experience. And Jacinda was there. She helped to take my shower. And so this time around, it was the same kind of experience. But it was, to me, I want to say it was so surreal.
It was a little bit more peaceful. We had a little bit, the kids were more involved and we was home. So I think every time that we're home, I think it's peaceful. Right. I think it's always a blessing to be home. But,
But that first one was home and it was still scary.
You're right. It was, but you're still home.
So what made this more peaceful, this one?
I guess maybe, Jacinda was there. Maybe. But probably just Jacinda being there. And then,
really?
because that whole pregnancy with Leia, we was laughing and joking the whole time,
right.
Saying that it was a boy, it was a boy, it was a boy, it was a boy. And Jacinda, I don't know what it is.
Right.
But
yeah, I felt like it was a little bit more peaceful at that moment. I feel like my birth plan was actually coming into reality. I was able to be in the tub. I bought that tub because I had the idea. So I'm going to give birth in this tub. So I wanted the tub to be extra big, extra long. And so to be in the tub and to be able to give birth in the tub. And my mother was here from New York and my mother's never seen a home birth. My mother's 70 and she's never seen a home birth. She's never seen a water birth live in person. So for her to see that was an experience for her as well. And immediately I said, I don't want anyone in the room, just me, Antoine, and the midwife, and my mother.
And the kids
was not listening to that. She was just like, I want to see the baby.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of felt like her being in the room kind of made you upset or made you feel like
it was just crowded.
It was crowded. Okay.
It was just crowded.
All right. So I mean, y'all won't be able to see mommy in the room, in the bathroom with us, but she was there. Lisa was there, and then the midwife was there as well, as long as with you. I just felt like it was such a peaceful experience, and you guys are going to see that in the video. Afterwards, the midwife did their job. The kids was there. And I just believe like giving birth is so it's so amazing. It's so many things that's happening at one time. And to see God's creation like right before your eyes, like God created this and planted this in my womb, and like look what happened. It's so surreal.
Right.
And I thank you for your courage. I thank you for your postpartum help, and caring for me. Sometimes I don't see it because I'm the one that's in the picture. You can't see the picture if you're the one in the frame, right? But sometimes it takes you stepping outside and looking in. And as I was looking at these videos of you, helping me and just doing it with such a nature, like you was a natural at it. I just want to say thank you.
No problem.
Why are you saying it like that?
I don't know what to say. Yeah. To be honest with you, I just think that's just something that you're supposed to do. You're supposed to just make sure you're just there. It's second nature. Some things just come, and some things just don't. Whatever you're good at, you're good at.
But I wouldn't say that though. I wouldn't say that it's second nature though, babe. Because first nature. I wouldn't say that. I would say that you had to learn. You had to learn that. I mean, you wasn't like that when I had Antoine. You were supportive enough to catch me fall, but you weren't putting on my pad. You weren't pulling up my diapers. Like,
I also think you didn't want me to do that anyway.
Probably.
You didn't want me to put your pad on diaper. We just had an enema the other day. You didn't want me to do that still.
Right. So it's some stuff
you still don't want me to do.
Right.
So
I think that this time I needed it. I think I was, after the seventh baby, I felt like I was exhausted, and I think that I was in need of the care, and you were able to assist me. But when I tell you, I feel like sometimes, and I don't know how this is going to sound, but I feel like sometimes that's when you be not waiting for but you be like,
waiting for what?
Like
to get it?
No.
I know what you was talking about. What you talking
I'm
about?
saying like sometimes it be because I'm so independent. I remember like when I hurt my foot, like when I had surgery on my foot, I'm still like, no, I got it. You'd be like, can you sit down? So sometimes in those moments, I really see you thrive in those moments because I think I'm so independent. Like even as an alpha woman, I feel like, and I don't even like those terms and stuff, but it is what it is. I feel like I'm so like, I got it. And it's like in that moment, in those postpartum moments, I can see you, see how much you have grown throughout the years, and watching those videos play back. It's like, I thank you for my husband. I thank you for his help. I thank you for your willingness to be able to help me. No, you didn't do it from the first baby all the way to the seventh baby, but along the way, you started to fill in where you needed to fill in at, where you was led to fill in at. I appreciate that. And, even as we post some of these videos, people are saying like, oh my goodness, I wish I had a man to do that. And it's just like, men aren't doing these things.
So you just can't beat them up for it because we don't know that.
So that's what I was trying to say to you. It's not second nature. How did you learn? That's what
it's over time. It's over time and period. I said second nature. I think now that's what it is now. But you learn over time and period. You can't beat a Tonka trunk up, and that's a man. Men are not. We don't know how to nurture like that. We had to learn how to nurture. Like we don't. We go build houses. What I mean? That's what we was taught. We work on a railroad. That's what we taught to work with our hands. But we're not taught to use our hands in the proper manner. We're taught to use our hands to fight. Taught to use our hands to build, not to hug and the nurture and the care for our spouse, because that's not, because we're taught to suppress our feelings. So how do we, if we're taught to suppress our feelings, how can we feel for someone if we ain't taught it?
Mm-hmm.
So we don't, like, it's over periods of time.
So then, who taught you those things? Because
I think it was just I think it was just watching, like, just hearing what you're saying that you need. It wasn't like my first off, my love language is physical touch already. So, but every male's love language is not physical touch, but not physical touch in the manner of not just sexual. Mm-hmm. Mine could be just hugging. We could, I could give you that.
Just
touching. So, but also, like I said, I got a nurse background. When I caught you, I already was doing PCA work, CNA work, and stuff like that. So I just put Antoine down to go check on you, see how you was doing. Mm-hmm. And I think but then listening to what you need too. Listening to saying, hey, can you put my pad on? I'm sore, or just going to put the pad on and just doing it. And then we got kids. Mm-hmm. So you can't go change the diaper all the time. So I got to change the diaper. Mm-hmm. So all of that plays in the factor of that day.
Mm-hmm. I was asking you because there are so many other women who are saying, like, you just mentioned that we are not taught how to be a nurturer like this, and so many people think that you learn this stuff because his mother must have taught him, and that's the furthest from the truth. Mm-hmm. The reality is that the women that the men are with have the best capacity to be able to teach that man how to nurture you. Mm-hmm. So I was, and you kind of was saying, and you was like, well, learning from you and hearing what you needed. But the way that you learn to be a nurturer and the way that you learn to nurture your woman is from that woman.
But also being willing to want to learn.
Absolutely.
So some men don't want to learn.
They don't have the willingness.
So you got to be willing to learn too. So that's a big thing. I think we all have to learn something. You have to learn how to handle me, and I got to learn how to handle you. Yes. So those are the things that come in. And at that time, you being pregnant is like, last time I couldn't put my diaper on at these times. Last time I was sore. Can you go make sure you go buy this? Last time, I didn't have the snacks I want. Can I have the snacks?
Right.
So just being attentive, I got to run downstairs. I know I got to come back upstairs. You want to eat? Nah, I'm asleep with the baby. I'll be back. I'll peek in. Boom. It's just moving. And then, right. Listen to what you're saying. Listen, it comes from you a lot. A lot of it comes from you.
Yeah. I remember I did an interview with the Today Show, and they asked me, they did an article on it, and they was asking, like, how did Antoine, was he always like this? And I had to be honest. I was like, no, he wasn't like this. He wasn't like this when we had our first kid, our second kid, our third kid. He wasn't at the birth for our fourth kid. So it's like, how did he go from not being even present with our fourth child to being this completely hands-on by baby number 7? And I had to explain, it's the process of being able to teach. Like, men have to have a spirit and a willingness to learn, to want to learn. Women, we have to have a spirit to want to teach. And I think that sometimes we don't. At those times before, I felt like you should know that. I felt like Antoine should have came to that. I felt like his mother should have taught him that, right? But no, you can't assume, or you have to just come with that spirit of teaching. If you want to create a change reaction in your relationship, and just in any kind of habit, you have to be able to ignite change. You have to let it initiate from you. And I explained that to them when they interviewed me. I started to teach him. And I don't know if you remember, but I've learned from my experience having baby number 6. All of that entire month during baby number 7, when I was trying to live a soft life, we was having conversations. Do you remember? And I was just like, this time I really need you. This time I really need all hands on deck. This time, just like how I'm saying to you now, like, emotionally, I know physically I got a big, strong, working out, chocolate, sexy, black man. Yeah, I know all of that, and I'm happy to have all of that. But me having you physically is just as important as me having you emotionally. I feel like sometimes women thrive off of an emotional connection more than even a physical connection.
Right.
You know, so I'm gonna speak for me. I know that I do.
Mm.
And so I'm talking to you about it as we have a few weeks left of this pregnancy. I'm talking to you about it to get you prepared, to get you to start opening up your mind to say, okay, God, create room in me.
Mm.
And I'm praying for you. God, please create room in my husband so that he will be able to nurture me in such a way that God desires.
Mm.
I know that I desire things, but God's desires ultimately trumps whatever Samvia desires.
Right.
So I just wanted to share that. I just wanted to share that you have to have that spirit and that willingness to want to teach your spouse,
Right.
teach your husband, just as much as he has to have the willingness to want to learn and be receptive to those things that you are, that you are really bringing to his attention. So
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate it. And I publicly just want to acknowledge that you were there. And I want to publicly appreciate and thank you for being there. I mean, you made postpartum for baby number 7. It was none other like any other experience that I have having any of our other children. I felt like you were connected. I felt like we were like in tune. I would pump the milk. You would come get the bottles. You would take the bottles out. And it just felt like if we was never a team or we was never like the A team, we was there at that time. So I thank you, and I truly look forward to what this experience will bring. I look forward to how we will create this experience.
Yeah, me too.
Is there something that you're looking forward for in me? I mean, because they're
You
gonna say,
you better have this baby, and you better just jump up out the water and get ready to have another baby.
go ahead and eat him up in these comments. He said, and get ready to have a what? I know he ain't just saying another baby, y'all.
No,
I know he.
This one right here, for the rest of the time, Barrett, I need you to relax.
Okay,
I need you to relax. I need you to. We get done. Time for a nap.
My Lord. But thank you. And I just want, because y'all can see in the video, it was one part of the video I snapped at him during the labor process. Do you remember when I snapped at you? Antoine was like, he was trying to be helpful. And so he went to go grab this big old towel
for your forehead.
He got this big old towel.
I got the closest thing near to me.
First of all, the water hot. Candles, well, they moved the candles. It's just warm. Like you give it's warm up in the place, okay? And Antoine and I'm like sweating. Antoine was like, "Let me get the towel." He take the towel and he trying to wipe my forehead, and I'm like, "I'm okay, Antoine. Thank you." And I heard him say, "Thank you, remembering my manners." At least I remembered my manners. But I probably do. When I said that, you have to see Jacinta. Jacinta's like, let me back up off her before she yells at me. I hope that you guys enjoyed this. Now go watch the video. Love y'all.
Peace.